Hello, my name is Raven. I'm 29 years old and my life has been something of a roller coaster these last few years. I finally managed to right the biggest wrong in my life, and today I want to tell you about it. I met my now ex-husband, Finn, when I was in university. He was a friend of a friend, and we ended up meeting at one of the many frat parties that were held during our college years. We started off as friends, and for almost 2 years, we remained that way. And then one day, out of the blue, Finn told me that he had feelings for me, and he asked me out on a date. I'll be honest, I saw him as nothing but a friend, but I figured I'd give him a chance. We went on a few more dates before we decided to give being in a relationship a shot. I ended up falling deeply in love with him, and we were quite a happy couple. After we graduated college, we moved in together and focused on our careers for a while. I worked as an accountant for a pretty big firm, while Finn worked with his dad, Benson. Now, I need to give you a little bit of a breakdown of Finn's family as well. Finn's parents, Benson and Carol, got divorced when Benson was 15 years old. Finn's mother, Carol, had been cheating on Benson for years, and when Benson found out, he decided he was done with her. They had been facing other marital issues, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Anyway, Finn knew of the reason for his parents' divorce, and for a long time, he hated his mother. He stuck by his father's side. Finn's father, Benson, spent all of his time and energy during the divorce trial growing his business, and eventually his hard work paid off, and his company was among the most successful ones in our city. During Finn's last year of university, he started working with his father, who gave him an entry-level job so Finn could gradually work his way to the top. So when we graduated and moved in together, Finn focused all his energy on working up the corporate ladder. A few years later, when Finn and I were both in pretty respectable positions at work and had more than enough income and savings, we decided to have a big fat wedding. We debated inviting Finn's mother for a while, but eventually decided to invite her because she was his mother and Finn wanted her to be a part of his biggest day. That was honestly my first biggest mistake. I should have nipped that thought in the bud and not let Carol come to the wedding, because after the wedding, Finn and Carol got back in contact with each other. They began meeting with each other all the time and would spend hours speaking to each other on the phone. And if that wasn't bad enough, Carol absolutely hated my guts. She hated the fact that I was a working woman instead of a stay-at-home wife who waited hand and foot on her husband. Honestly, I have nothing against being a stay-at-home wife, but the truth was that I was making 3 times what Finn was making. We had established a pretty comfortable life for both of us, and I highly doubted that either of us wanted to give that up for some silly tradition. Initially, Finn would stand up for me whenever Carol said something against me, but with more time that passed, the less Finn did that. In fact, he began siding with Carol, and then he began trying to impose his mother's ideals onto me. Of course, I had none of it, and I let him know as much. Finn began reverting into a man-child. He expected me to constantly pick up after him, and he wouldn't do anything until I reminded him at least 1,000,000 times about it. It irked me, but I loved him, so I stayed and dealt with it for over 2 years. And then I began noticing a difference in the way that Finn was treating me. He barely spoke to me, and he would always have some excuse to stay out of the house. I knew our relationship wasn't perfect, but I didn't think that Finn would outright ignore me. So one day I confronted him about it. Finn, we need to talk. Yeah, what's up? You've been behaving differently these last few weeks. Is everything all right? Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't things be okay? I don't know. You've just been out of the house a lot. We barely spend any time together, and even when we finally are free and can spend time together, you choose to spend it either gaming or sleeping. Are you mad at me or something? I'm not mad at you at all. I'm just swamped with work, and when I come back home, the only thing I want to do is relax. I get that. Why don't you cut down your hours just for a little bit, though? I'm sure you could talk to your dad and have him manage that. Who said I'm only working at the office? Once I'm done with work, I sometimes head to my mom's place. You've been visiting your mom? Since when? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't think it was any of your business to know what I did after work. Okay, well, there's no need to be so rude. Then don't be so nosy. Mom's been lonely, so I thought I would give her some company. Well, you know how she feels about me. Has she been telling you things about me? Are you trying to suggest that my mom has been turning me against you by telling me bad things about you? Maybe. Is she? When will you stop making my mother out to be some horrible monster? She constantly asks me how you're doing, and in fact, she's asked me to bring you over as well. But I refuse to do that because God knows I need a break from you. You're always up in my business, and I can never get any rest without you nagging me. Ugh. There's no need to get so upset with me. I was just asking. Forgive me for being concerned about our relationship and wanting us to be doing great. Whatever. You've ruined my mood. I'm going to go out. I couldn't understand why Finn was being so secretive and aggressive towards me. I knew that I nagged him a little bit, but that was only to get him to do the work he was supposed to do. I wanted him to contribute to our relationship in the same manner that I contributed to ours. I tried to talk to him again when he got back home, but he pretty much ignored me. He only talked to me after a few days. It was very clear that his mother's words were beginning to affect him. Finn's and my relationship only got worse from there. Every time we spoke, we would fight. The few times that we didn't fight, we were ignoring each other. Of course, that doesn't mean that I didn't try to make things better. I tried multiple times to get him to open up to me about what was happening between us, but that would only make him even more upset and angry at me. This continued for a year until one day, Finn's father, Benson, showed up at my doorstep. Benson, what are you doing here? Hi, sweetie, is Finn home? No, he's gone golfing with friends. I'm afraid he won't be back home until late at night. You just missed him, though. Do you need me to pass him a message? Goodness, no. I'm here to talk to you. To me? What's going on? Is everything okay? Not really. Do you mind if I come in? Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry, I was just thrown off guard by you coming here to visit me. I know, it's a little weird. We haven't really had many one-on-one conversations, but from what few conversations we've had, I already know that you're an amazing person and you deserve someone way better than my son. Oh, that's really sweet of you, but I think that Finn is the best person for me. He makes me happy. He takes care of me, and that's all that matters, isn't it? Well, I would consider fidelity to be part of the important things as well. Well, yeah, but what does that have to do with Finn and me? Sweetie, I need you to sit down and listen to me carefully. You're beginning to scare me. What's going on? The other day, I happened to be at work, way past closing time, and I ended up seeing and hearing things that I do not approve of. What do you mean? Well, I was not the only one in the office working late that day. I was trying to go into my office when I heard voices coming from there. Nobody's supposed to be in my office, so I was pretty annoyed about it. But the voices sounded familiar, so I listened to it. And that's when I realized that it was Finn, but he wasn't alone. He was in there with his secretary. What are you saying, Benson? I remember barely being able to process what was going on before all the talking turned into different kinds of noises. I was really nauseous at this point, so I walked away. I looked into it some more, and it turns out that Finn and his secretary have been in a relationship for the past year. I'm sorry that I have to break it to you this way, but I really found no other way to tell you that this was happening. I wanted to tell you without Finn being here because I didn't want him to try and change your mind about the way that you're feeling. Oh my God. I can't believe it. The past year? That would explain all of his weird behavior. What do you mean by weird behavior? Well, he was always out until late. He barely spoke to me, and for some reason, he was also spending a lot of time with Carol. And you know how much Carol hates me. I figured he was behaving that way because she was influencing him. I never thought that He would cheat on me. Well, if he was spending so much time with Carol, I wouldn't be surprised that he began cheating on you. She left me for another man because she believed she deserved better than me. Instead of communicating with me, she chose to cheat on me. I wouldn't be surprised if she fed Finn the same nonsense. Whether she fed it to him or not, he is a grown adult, so he should have been able to know what to listen to and what not to listen to. I understand that you're really upset, and believe me, I'm really upset as well, which is why I want your help getting revenge on Finn. Revenge? How? I want to embarrass him in front of the entire company. I just need ideas. If you're willing, maybe we could brainstorm ideas together. Of course. Let me grab my laptop. My head felt like it was filled with a haze. I could barely process what was going on. Yet at the same time, I felt a strange kind of calm washing over me. I guess subconsciously I'd already known that my marriage was over and I just needed a way to get out of it. But I never expected Finn to cheat on me. I knew that even though I felt relieved about being able to leave the relationship, I needed to put Finn in his place for ruining many years of my life. Benson and I spent the rest of the afternoon figuring out how we wanted to put Finn in his place. I couldn't imagine how hard it must have been for Benson to go against his own son that way, but I was sure that seeing his son behave the same way that his wife did must have brought up a lot of unpleasant memories. I was glad that I had his support. Benson told me that he wanted Finn to be absolutely humiliated, not only in his personal life, but also in his professional life. Having improper relations with his subordinate was not only a violation of company policies, but it was also gross. Benson told me that he had been planning to hand over the company to Finn and announce his retirement within the next 4 months. He was going to make it a big event and invite a few important people to be a part of the celebration. We decided to use that time to collect all the evidence we could of Finn's affair and then expose him in front of everyone. It wasn't an easy plan for me to follow. I had to keep my mouth shut about the things I knew, and honestly, I only got angrier at Finn with each day that passed for putting me in such a situation. I collected all the evidence that I could, and so did Benson. We had text screenshots, videos of them in the workplace, and pictures of Finn and his secretary together outside the office premises being affectionate. It made me beyond sick to look at the evidence, but the thought of exposing Finn made me feel better. However, aside from working on collecting evidence on Finn, I also began to notice that Finn was behaving really rudely towards me. Instead of ignoring me like he usually would, he'd love to throw insults my way or give me backhanded compliments. They stung, of course, but I did my best to play dumb. Of course, this was a result of his spending even more time with his mother. Benson also helped me find a good lawyer through whom I filed for divorce. Benson took care of that paperwork as well, so I could look as unassuming as possible. Well, 2.5 months after Benson revealed Finn's affair to me, Benson's company was set to celebrate their 15th anniversary. The day before the event, Finn decided that he needed to go to his mother's place to pick a few things up for himself and bring her to the event as well. His mother lived 5 hours away from us and in another state, and did not object to it because I simply did not care. However, a week before he was supposed to go to his mother's place, he lost his house keys, and instead of immediately getting copies made of my keys, he decided that we should struggle with my one pair of keys. And on the day that he was leaving for his mother's, I was clumsy and forgot not only my wallet at home before going to work, but also to take the set of keys from Finn. I only realized that I didn't have the house keys when I got back home from work pretty late. I immediately called Finn. He declined my call the first 2 times before finally picking it up on the 3rd try. What do you need? When did you leave the house and how far away from home are you? I left 4 hours ago. I'm closer to my mom's place than to ours. Why? Is everything okay? I think you took the keys with you instead of leaving them under the carpet like you promised you would. Oops, looks like you'll be on the streets tonight. Are you serious? I reminded you over and over again to leave the keys here. Why was it so hard for you to do just one thing? Did you maybe think that I did this on purpose? Why would you want me to not be in my own house on purpose? What is wrong with you? Nothing's wrong with me. Something's wrong with you. What are you even talking about? Do you have anything else to do other than nag me and make me feel pathetic? I have never nagged you or tried to make you feel pathetic. I'm sorry that I made you feel that way, but that was never something I wanted to do to you. I don't nag you. I only remind you a few times about the things you need to be doing for either your sake or our sake. You never listen to me anyway, so of course you feel pathetic when I express my frustration with you. You always have some excuse ready, don't you? These are not excuses. What do you expect me to do right now? You have money, don't you? Go stay at a hotel. You know that I left the house without my wallet today. My phone's going to die soon too. That sounds like your problem. You need to learn to be better organized. You always give me crap for not listening to you. But what about you always being so forgetful? I can count on one hand the number of times I've forgotten something important. Why have you suddenly become so mean to me? I've begun noticing this for a while now, and I can't help but feel like something's wrong here. You don't have to try to play nice now. My mother was right from the start. You're not a good fit for me as a partner. You need to be put in your place immediately, so consider this a lesson for you. Oh my God. Are you seriously listening to the same woman who thought that I should be a stay-at-home wife, even though I make 3 times more than you? Because she thought your ego would be too hurt? She is the only one who truly knows and understands me. All you ever do is tell me how to feel instead of letting me feel my own emotions. And you don't think your mother is feeding you the emotions you need to feel either? Look, now you're coming for my mother as well. You're a horrible person. And maybe a night in the cold will make you realize that you need to behave better. I'm almost reaching my mom's place, so I'll talk to you later. Bye. I couldn't believe how petty Finn had been. How could he just lock me out of my own house because he didn't like something? I tried to call him back again, only to find out that he had blocked my number. When I tell you I was seeing red, I mean it. But I knew that I was in no position to act out on my anger. The first thing I needed to do was find a place to stay or get into my house. My phone's battery was on its last legs, and I could only think of one other person to help me out. Benson. Hi, Ben. Are you free right now? Yes, of course, sweetie. I'm so sorry for calling you at this hour. Oh, shut up. It's barely 9 o'clock. Is everything okay? Not really. I mean, I'm locked out of my house on purpose. On purpose? What do you mean? I was a bit of a ding-dong today and gave my house key to Finn in the morning before going to work. He went to Carol's place today and he decided to take my key with him to teach me a lesson or something. What? Teach you a lesson? On what? Apparently, I haven't been caring too much about his feelings, and so I need to be taught a lesson about it. It's ironic, isn't it? Oh, it's beyond ironic that he has the nerve to say that when he knows he's cheating on you. I know. Well, I have no place to go. I forgot my wallet at home, so I can't even stay at a motel. Is there any way that you could help me out? Of course, sweetie. Do you want to stay at my place, or do you want me to bring a friend over who's a locksmith to help you open the lock? I think I would like your friend to come over and help. I have no clothes to change into at your place, and I really don't want to be even more of a burden on you. That's nonsense. There's no way you could ever be a burden. If anything, my family has been more of a burden on you. I wouldn't say your entire family, but your ex-wife and son sure have been. Say, I have a question for you. Yeah? I was thinking about it, and should we reveal the surprise a bit earlier? Finn has put you through enough, and this should be your last straw. You cannot let him keep treating you this way. I don't mind, but are the divorce papers ready? Oh, they were ready a few days ago. Everything's in place. The only thing we need is for Finn to be present so we can publicly humiliate him. You know what? Yeah, let's do it. He deserves to be absolutely humiliated. He needs to understand what I've been feeling for the last few months. All right then, I'll come over to your place in 15 with my friend. We can continue talking about this plan and we can execute it tomorrow itself. All right, I'll see you soon. I was so grateful for being able to count on Benson. Just like he said, Benson came by in 15 minutes with his friend. While his friend busied himself with the lock, Benson and I planned out what we were going to do about Finn. We figured since the 15th anniversary of the company was going to be an even bigger event than Benson's retirement party, we could expose Finn there. It only took about 10 minutes for Benson's friend to open my door, and then the two of them left. I couldn't help but sleep well for the first time in months thanks to Benson and my plan to expose Finn. When the next day came around, I made sure to dress as nicely as I could and then made my way over to the event. I met Benson there, who told me that he'd set everything up, and he handed me the divorce papers to give to Finn. Finn arrived with his mother, Carol, right as the event began. He spotted me but stayed away from me the entire time. I didn't mind that because I knew that if I had to interact with him, I'd end up letting go of all my rage towards him. When the time came for speeches, Benson walked up on stage with me by his side. I could already see Benson's mind turning in confusion. Benson thanked everyone for attending the event and then proceeded to talk about how he needed to do something to right his conscience. He informed everybody that I was his daughter-in-law and I had some things to say about his son, Finn, who was supposed to take over the company. I took the mic from Benson and cued the projection to start. Immediately, there were multiple gasps from the crowd. Nobody was expecting to see pictures of Finn and his secretary. I went on to talk about how long Finn had been cheating on me and provided all the proof necessary. At the end of it, Benson announced that given the proof I had found, he was effectively terminating Finn. It's safe to say that for the rest of the event, Finn was barely looked at while everybody came up to me to give me their sympathies. Finn and Carol left pretty early, and the next day Finn came banging on our door. "What did you do?" "What do you mean?" "Don't act dumb. You embarrassed me in front of everyone and you've ruined my reputation. And you ruined my mental health and our relationship. I guess we both lost something. Did you brainwash my dad into doing this with you?" "Your dad is smart enough to know what he wants to do and what he doesn't. I didn't have to blackmail or brainwash him in any way. In fact, he was the one who discovered your affair and jumped through hoops to get in contact with me without arousing your suspicions." "What?" "You're so pathetic that even your dad wanted you to fail. I hope that sits with you for a long time. You don't deserve to be a part of the company that he broke his back building. You know very well that your mother is nothing short of a horrible person, and you still choose to be by her side and let her manipulate all your relationships this way. You deserve all the hate and the backlash you're going to get now. I hope with every struggle you feel, you remember why you're struggling." "What is wrong with you? I'm never going to be able to find a job in this city. Did you have to do it at the big 15th anniversary of the company? Do you even know how many affluent people were there? And now they all think of me as some cheating loser. Isn't that just the truth? You know what? You're a disgusting person. I never should have married you. I should have listened to my mother and stayed away from you. All you've ever done is ruin my life and push me to my limits. Do you think you ruined my life? I'll show you that you didn't. I'm going to rise up from this and become way more successful than you've ever imagined." "Well, I don't care about what you'll end up doing in the future. Here's the divorce papers. You have 30 days to sign them, or I'll still be able to get the divorce if I handle it by myself." "Oh, I'm so glad you went ahead and filed for the divorce. It saves me and Mom a lot of time. And if you think we're going to make this easy for you, think again. I'll make this the worst time of your life, and I'll make sure you come to me begging to end the case. Do your worst. I have Benson and all his contacts on my side. Goodbye." Exposing Finn was an act of revenge, but witnessing his reaction was even more cathartic than executing the revenge. Finn's empty threats meant absolutely nothing to me. The only thing that made me ecstatic was seeing just how much my expose affected him. In fact, Finn was not wrong about how badly the expose was going to hurt him. He held a pretty high ranking in his father's company, but once he was publicly humiliated and let go, nobody wanted to hire him again. The few that were fine with hiring him only offered him lower positions. Of course, Finn's career was practically ruined in our city, so he tried moving closer to his mom, but it turns out that someone had recorded the expose and uploaded it to the internet with Finn's full name in the title. One Google search is all the companies had to do to figure out what Finn was like. Having improper relationships with their subordinates is not a quality that companies really look out for. He struggled for a while to find a decent job, which he eventually found, but it was nowhere as glamorous as the job he had at his father's company. He had to struggle to make ends meet and had no one by his side. Since he was struggling so much, Finn decided to try to make my life miserable through the divorce. It was a long, difficult process because Finn kept fighting everything. It wasn't a problem for me as much as an annoyance. In the end, Finn ended up losing quite a lot of money. His mother practically abandoned him when he asked her for money. She stopped talking to him, and that only made it clearer that she only kept up a relationship with Finn so she could get access to his wealth. It's funny how he ruined our relationship and his career for someone like that. I'm just glad that I managed to get out of that relationship before I suffered anymore. It's been over a year since everything's settled, and Benson and I are still very much in contact. He's really become a father figure to me, and I couldn't be more grateful to have him in my life. After he fired Finn, he offered me a position in his company. Of course, I had to work my way up to a better position, but I'm thriving in my work environment. Life has been getting sweeter by the day, and I'm sure it'll continue to be this way for a long time. Thank you so much for listening to my story.